Hello and welcome to The Coin, Chapter 3. I'm Kevin Masterson and I'll be performing your reading today. Remember, you can buy a copy of the book and read along with us. It's a real fun time. There's a link in the description down below, so check her out. So without further ado, The Coin, Chapter 3. Chapter 3. Jake got ready for work and was heading out of his apartment. His neighbor was sitting out front on the patio of the apartment building.
Good morning, Jake.
Good morning, Jim. I'm on my way there.
Okay, have a good day. Check you later.
Okay, thanks. You too. He walks to the same bus stop where he catches the bus every time he goes to work. He boards the bus. Jake, speaking to the bus driver. Hello, how are you doing?
Okay, how are you?
I'm good. Jake went and had a seat on the bus. Jake took a seat across from a middle-aged Caucasian woman. Jake got comfortable in his seat. He just gave a casual look to her, but the woman was very belligerent and responded by saying,
What are you looking at, N-word?
Jake said, What? I didn't mean any harm, ma'am. And he moved to another seat away from her to keep the peace. He went to work and finished the day at work. Upon leaving work, Jake went into his blank-out mode, and the next thing you know, he was at the Caucasian woman's house, who he had run in with earlier on the bus on his way to work. He was waiting for her to get home. She lived in a cottage house close to the beach. Jake was sitting in her backyard waiting, with his shoulder bag full of weapons. Jake had a specially made sword and other different tools to do his killings, and other special made tools for everything else. It was dusk dark. A light came on in the kitchen. Jake got up and quietly walked to the window to confirm who was inside, and it was indeed the Caucasian woman, who he had the run-in with earlier. He went in his pocket quietly and got a tool to open her back door quietly. The TV was on, and that muffled the sound of the door opening. She was starting to cook something on the stove. Jake was behind her and touched her right shoulder. She was very startled. She turned around immediately to her right side, saying hysterically, "Ooh!" with her mouth wide open. When she made a complete turn, Jake, with one of his special weapons, cut her tongue out of her mouth, pushed her down, cut off both of her hands, and slit her throat from ear to ear, putting the body parts of hers in special bags he had. He walked out of her house through the back door while she was on the floor in excruciating pain, rolling around uncontrollably. Meanwhile, fast forward. The woman was dead for a while, days. She lived alone. Her family members were concerned that nobody heard from her in a while. They checked on her and found her dead, mutilated body. The authorities were called out, but nothing became of the investigation. Back to Jake and disrespectful woman. He went home with the body parts he took from the woman, used them as meat for seasoning in a pot of stew, ate it all, got full, watched a little TV, cleaned up everything, and fell asleep. He woke up the next morning not remembering a thing. The next morning was a Saturday. His off days were Saturday and Sunday. On off days, Jake generally stays at home close or around 11 a.m. and then goes to the promenade in Santa Monica to perform singing and playing his guitar, with his box sitting out in front of him on the ground for donations. That Saturday, after his session was over, a person from an evil empire was listening to Jake's music in the crowd. He was keeping tabs on Jake to see if the curse from the quarter is working on him. In the meantime, they knew, Evil Empire, that he acquired the quarter. Jake got all of his equipment together and money and went home and didn't have a clue what kind of person was part of his audience. When he got home, he put most of his money away in his stash place, took some spending money with him, fixed a sandwich and ate it, relaxed for a while, left his guitar at home, and headed out walking towards the beach. He walked to the Santa Monica Pier. It was a nice, warm, and sunny day to do it. Walk to Pier. A good day to be at the pier. When he got there, he bought himself an ice cream cone and sat on one of the benches looking out towards the beach and ocean, checking out the crowd on the beach swimming, sunbathing, people sailing in their sailboats, and folks riding in their yachts. He was there for only a short time when 3 drunk homeless guys were passing by, walking in the back of Jake as he was sitting. One of the 3 drunk guys recognized Jake from performing on the promenade, and he blurted out,
Hey, guitar man, what are you doing sitting here?
Just got finished performing not too long ago. Just out chilling for a while.
Being belligerent, he says. Chilling. It ain't no time for chilling. Go home and get that guitar and come back and play us something.
Just trying to relax.
I ain't playing, punk. Go get that guitar and come back here and play us some music, F word!
Hey man, I don't know you. Why are you bothering me? You should learn how to respect people. Jake walked off furious.
That's right, punk. You better leave and make sure you come back with that guitar.
Jake left and went to a movie to cool down about what just happened. While at the theater concession stand, he was standing in front of a pretty girl. He turned around and said hello to her. Hello. How's your day? Fine. How's yours? Great. By the way, what's your name? Carolyn. What's yours? Jake. Pleased to meet you. Same here. Which movie are you going to see? The Titanic? That's what I am here to see too. I was wondering if it would be okay with you for us to watch the movie together. Okay, I don't mind. Okay, let me be a gentleman, and it would be my pleasure to treat you to anything you want at the concession stand. Oh, that's very kind of you. Well, it would be my pleasure. Okay, that would be fine. They got their food at the concession stand and went in and found good seats and sat together and watched the movie. Every once in a while, they would be talking back and forth to one another while the movie was playing. After the movie, they both said, "Great movie," and was walking out of the theater, and Carolyn said, "I have to go use the restroom." Me too. Whoever comes out first, let's wait for another at the concession stand. I want to talk to you so we can talk about whatever comes up. Okay. Jake came out of the restroom first, and Carolyn came out a little while later. They met at the concession stand and walked downstairs to the lobby so they can have a seat in the lounge chairs to chit-chat. Would you like to have a seat? Yes. Okay. Thanks. They sat and talked. Carolyn, I'm happy I met you. I can tell you are a nice person, and I wouldn't want the time we spent watching the movie together to be in vain. And I was wondering if we can do this again? Sure. I think you are a nice person too. Let me give you my cell number. Do you have a cell phone? Yes, I do. Is it okay for us to exchange numbers to keep in touch with each other? Yes, that'll be okay. They exchanged numbers and said goodnight to each other, and that they will keep in touch with one another. They parted ways. Jake went home, opened his door and locked his door behind him, turned on the TV, sat down in his chair, and went into his blank-out mode. Left the TV on, volume not high, opened his door, walked out of his apartment, turned and locked the door, and walked to where the homeless drunk guy camp was. The guy was asleep. Jake had his bag of tools with him. Nobody sees where or how he gets his bag of tool weapons. Jake, standing over the man, pulled a long rod with sharp rotating blade and pushed it in his neck, turned the bottom on the end, and the rod cut the man's Adam's apple out of his neck. It was stuck to the rod. Jake pulled the Adam's apple of the rod, put it in a bag, then plunged the rod in the man's head and chest until he was dead. Jake pulled the Adam's apple of the rod, pulled it in a bag, then plunged the rod in the man's head and chest until he was dead. Jake split from the homeless man's spot, went to his stash spot, and put his tool weapons and headed towards home. When he got back home, he fixed some tea for himself and dropped the Adam's apple in it for flavor and drank it. When he finished, he disposed of everything and went to bed. In the meantime, one of the dead homeless guy's homeless friend went to his friend's spot that morning. That's his regular routine, and found his friend dead. It was all messed up about what he saw, but he managed to get to a telephone and call the police. They came out and investigated, but couldn't find any clues. But they, police officers, did get help for the dead homeless man's friend because he was all messed up about what happened. P.S. The dead homeless man's friend would be juicing, drinking alcohol, so much through the course of a day. When the police officers started asking him questions about his friend's death, he wasn't of no use. In reality, the man would be so inebriated every day, he wouldn't know his left foot from his right. And that has been chapter 3 of The Coin. Thank you for reading along with us. I hope you leave a comment, like, subscribe down below. And remember, you can buy a copy yourself if you'd like. And until next time, chapter 4 of The Coin. Goodbye. Let's see, do you want to take on some rides here at Amusement Park on the pier?
That sounds like fun, of course.
But first, let's get a couple of ice cream cones.
Kevin.
Kevin.